Thanks so much for clicking on this video. We're going to be discussing the Iron Man game news. Apparently, the Iron Man game previously announced is already in playtesting. What does that mean? Maybe Anthem had something to do with it. We're going to be theorizing. I'm going to give you all of the info right here at the beginning of the video. It is a longer stream, and we did try something new today. The members-only stream happened in the middle of the day, so this is our second talk show, but we did a member stream before we came over here. So I'm going to end that member stream and bring everybody over. Make sure everybody that comes over smashes the like button. If you enjoy this content, be sure to hit subscribe, the like button, all of the buttons. That way you don't miss out on my content. And we do like to start the stream with an update like this so you don't have to go searching for all of the information. This is a Reforge update. The latest Iron Man game news is that EA is reportedly already playtesting the brand new Iron Man game today. It's already in testing, so this is actually like a day old on the news cycle. What does this mean? Does this have anything to do with Anthem and some of our theories that we had before? Remember to hit subscribe and the bell button below so you don't miss my quick uploads. According to insidergaming.com, that is Tom Henderson's website that he launched to handle the insider leaks and things that he gets his hands on, it's only been a month since Motive officially announced it was working on a new Iron Man game, and sources have revealed that the game has already started playtesting. This is interesting. I'm going to have some theories in this video and later in the discussions on my live gaming channel about, is this related to Anthem at all? Apparently, this is a new long-term partnership. The blog post on EA's website says this game marks a new long-term partnership between the company and Marvel Games, calling this Iron Man game the first of several new games. So this is not the only Marvel property they have plans for. And according to sources close to the project, playtesting has begun. Sources have revealed that playtesting officially starts on October the 31st to November the 2nd, and it will be EA's one-on-one playtesting at one of its studios. Now, what exactly does that mean? What is likely to be included in what they label one-on-one playtesting? Although these sessions are referred to as playtesting sessions, they are feedback sessions based on what Motive has planned for the Iron Man game. This is likely to include plot points, game mechanics, game modes, and more. Now, that doesn't sound like playtesting to me, so how do they describe one-on-one playtesting on the EA website? Quote, get an inside look at a game or product and talk through your experience directly with an EA researcher. They will ask you questions about your experiences, preferences, and other areas of interest. These conversations typically last between 30 and 120 minutes, and they happen online or in person at one of our player experience labs. So that begs the question, why would you announce the game so early if you're apparently already playtesting? Like, the announcement doesn't seem to make much sense, but they actually did speak to why they made the announcement. Following Motive's Iron Man announcement, Patrick Klaus, Motive Studios general manager, said, quote, our goal in announcing the game early is to invite developers who are just as passionate about Marvel as we are to consider joining Motive. It's also because we will want to engage with a community of players in due course. So what does playtesting suggest? Well, according to Insider Gaming, it's not officially been stated how long Motive Iron Man's game has been in development, but playtest this early from the announcement, it suggests that this has been in pre-production for some time. This immediately makes me think of Anthem. If you've already been in pre-production for a while, you had maybe sort of a jump start, maybe a head start on this. Could they be using Anthem gameplay mechanics or footage in the early playtesting? Many of us have said that the flying in Anthem gameplay will probably end up being a direct impact, or even some of it might be used in the Iron Man game. Specifically, the Ranger class Javelin in Anthem looked and felt like Iron Man. I ran the footage one day of the Ranger gameplay, and people thought I was showing off gameplay of an Iron Man game. The way he moves, the way he spins and flies. So playtesting this early could point to that game actually helping to move things along. Even if they're not using the core engine and mechanics of Anthem, they could just use gameplay footage to say, what do you think of this? Does this look good enough? Does this look like a game that you would play? It could be part of this one-on-one playtesting because they could have workable models of the flight and the combat. What do you think? Do you think Anthem has anything to do with this title? I really always wanted the Anthem to have its comeback, so obviously I'm interested in what you have to say below in the comments. Check out Reforge Gaming, where I stream live if you want to interact with me in a live environment. Hit subscribe and the bell button on this video, and I will see you in the next one. All right, guys, second show of the day, second talk show. We did experiment with something a little bit differently. We did our members-only stream in the middle, and a lot more members got the opportunity to see that stream. So if we feel like this worked well, we will do it for the foreseeable future. Something that we have been struggling with our second talk shows is we need lots of likes. So please make sure and smash the like button if you came over from the members stream. If you've been hanging out with me today as our second talk show, almost 200 people are already here. So be sure to smash that like button. Bill Pogge hitting a 4-month membership as a full member, and John always upgraded to a full member. We need all of our members to be upgrading to full memberships or VIP before December. That way we have a dividing line between gifted members and full memberships. Wheezy says, I don't think it does. I've stated why before. I can't remember why you said before you don't feel like it's related. I think at the very least, you would show people Anthem. You would be like, does this look like a game you would play? Does this look like Iron Man? Does this look like the flight pattern and the combat and the movement of Iron Man? Even if they literally just took a YouTube video of the Ranger flying around, I feel like Anthem's going to have an impact on this game. They don't have to build on the engine. They don't have to use the actual mechanics. I don't know. I feel like they would not want to. I don't think they would necessarily want to build on that engine. I feel like that engine's problematic. But I don't know. I feel like if you're already out of pre-production and you're already doing one-on-one play testings to let people sort of interact with the idea of the game and what the game might look like, I don't know. I feel like Anthem's in there somewhere. That's like my gut instinct on this one. It would be dope if they rolled out games the way they did with the MCU. They could start with Iron Man and build up as a cast for bigger Avengers games, but a good one this time. Apparently, there's like 3 games that they have planned, and this is just the first, right? This is just the first. So there could be a similar strategy. I mean, you could be right. They might have other superhero games in the pipeline to say, hey, you know, you guys have got so many characters to work with. After the Avengers game, you might want to start breaking out the characters and do them on their own. The Frostbite engine comes with free razor blades. Right, for those of you unfamiliar, Anthem had developers privately talk about how the Frostbite engine just has razor blades in it. It's just a really, really tough engine to work with. What's good, Khalid? Isn't Motive the developer behind the Dead Space remake? If so, I'm a little concerned. I wish it was being made by Sony. Is Wolverine part of that? No, Wolverine is being made by Insomniac. Iron Man needs a big, huge set pieces in a globe-trotting setting. Yeah, I don't think you can do... So if you guys remember Anthem gameplay, Iron Man gameplay would have to be very similar. You would need giant set pieces to fly through. Because if not, the scope of his flight just doesn't work. Like, where are you going to go? I also think flying through buildings and cityscapes and stuff could be tough to get right, because people might say, yeah, this is I'm running into buildings and stuff. This doesn't feel good. So the Iron Man game might be a single-player Anthem 2 reskin. Interesting. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be an Anthem 2 reskin, but I definitely think it could be heavily influenced by the work that was done in the Anthem game. This has the potential to be a really good game. I just wonder if there's almost like a Marvel curse at this point. Like, the concern would be that a lot of the reception of Marvel games is going to be harmed by what happened with the Avengers game, because we know that hurt Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy got nominated for awards, and commercially it just didn't do very well at all. Some of that was because they didn't look like the MCU Guardians, but I also think the Avengers game played a role there. Who's making the Iron Man game? So this one's backed by EA, and it is being developed by Motive Studio. So Motive Studios is the one making the game. EA is publishing the game. You got Insomniac making a fantastic... you've already got Insomniac making fantastic Marvel games. Not if it's made by Insomniac. Anything backed by EA. It's questionable. Read that. Vince Sampala is working on it. I'm buying it. Which game are you talking about, Joker? Are you talking about the Iron Man game? Marvel Avengers Ain't the Vast campaign was good. Ain't that bad. The campaign was good. The Black Panther expansion. I mean, listen, you can defend Avengers all you want. The public the public's reception of Avengers matters more. The public reception for Avengers matters way more. If you're going to look at Avengers and you're going to say, oh, there's redeemable parts here, that just doesn't matter. The general public did not like it. It didn't fare well. It got bad reviews. Jedi Fallen Order was EA? Yeah. EA published, Respawn built. Yes, Jedi Fallen Order. As well as the sequel, Jedi Survivor, which is a terrible name. I don't trust anything superhero made if it's not made by Insomniac. What else has Motive made? I don't know. Motive Studios. The Battlefront games, it looks like, maybe. And then the Dead Space remake. Motive Video Game Studios at EA. They have their own like landing page on the EA website. So I'm not actually sure what they've made. It looks like maybe they've done the Battlefront games. And they're working on the Dead Space remake, art design, open roles, opportunities. Sony made Spider-Man exclusive on the Avengers games. Join our team. I can click on our studio. It's that je ne sais quoi. They're trying to get people to come to the studio. Who is Motive? Our values. A pretty rad office space. I'm not seeing any of their games. Maybe we should Google, instead of Motive Studios, we should do Motive Studios games. Star Wars Squadrons and Battlefront 2, it looks like. Here we go. Games developed by Motive Studio. They do have a landing page for this. Dead Space. Past projects would be Star Wars Squadrons and Battlefront 2. They did the campaign for Battlefront 2, which was the best part of Battlefront 2, says Wheezy. So it sounds like, Motive's made... Squadrons... I don't know if Squadrons did well. I thought it looked really good, but I don't know if it did that well. I don't know if people liked it. I don't know if it was, critically acclaimed or praised or anything like that. I'm not actually sure how well that one did. Squadrons was good. Battlefront 2 came around. Squadrons was good. It just didn't sell. I remember it looked fine. Like, it looked like they did a good job capturing the look and feel of the Star Wars universe. Like, it felt like, oh, hey, you guys did a great job. Like, that would give me a little bit of confidence that they could make a good flying game for Iron Man, that they made Squadrons and they captured the look and feel of an X-Wing and a TIE fighter. What was the last good EA game? I'll give them Fallen Order. Other than that, EA Games latest releases. I don't. They do so much. It's hard to know. They have Wild Hearts on the horizon in the Dead Space remake. Here we go. Latest games on their own website. Their latest games. They're behind Apex. They got FIFA. Obviously, Battlefield 2042 was terrible. Lost in Random did really, really well. The Mass Effect Legendary Edition, I think people liked. It Takes Two won Game of the Year. The Star Wars games that we just talked about. So I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. It feels like a bit of a mixed bag. Like, they have games that come out that obviously don't fare that well and people don't like all that much, and then they seemingly have some really good property in the mix. They publish more than they develop. Yeah, a lot of these games, like Lost in Random and It Takes Two, they just publish those. I don't believe that those... They have their own developers on those, because It Takes Two is an EA original, but that was a small studio that made it, was it not? I don't think there's anything else. Deadpool, maybe? I mean, the Deadpool game is super old. An Iron Man game, for me, would need to be heavily influenced by Anthem as far as flying around. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like it needs to be heavily influenced by Anthem, because I feel like Anthem just got the flying right. They just got the flying right. It just felt good to be in that world. Now, the other thing that I think they need to nail if they're going to do an Iron Man game, I think they need to nail the skill tree. I need to feel like I'm upgrading my suit. I need to feel like I'm upgrading my abilities. If you can't get that right, one of the things I think you're always going to run into in superhero games is if you can't make it feel like I'm getting new stuff as I play the way that I felt in Spider-Man and Miles Morales and the Batman games, if you can't capture that feeling, then I'm going to get bored really fast. Lost in Random and It Takes Two were made by two different developers that were not for EA. Okay. A majority of Iron Man's villains aren't power-suited, but they could be, since most were like that in the Armored Adventure series. Iron Man needs to do what Spider-Man did. Make the combat fantastic. Make you enjoy playing Tony Stark and have tons of tasks to do after the main campaign. Yeah, you have to make traversing... The first time you traverse as Spider-Man, you need Iron Man gameplay to feel that good. Yeah, RDJ would be too pricey. I mean, I'll if they want to book me for my first voice acting, I'll be happy to voice Tony Stark. But I'm kidding. The first time you go swinging through the city in Spider-Man, you need Iron Man gameplay to feel that good from moment one. You need to go up and shoot off and be flying and going back and forth and you need to be able to say, this feels like I'm Iron Man. This feels good. And I think the challenge is going to be Spider-Man swinging through the cities just feels right. Iron Man flying through urban areas would be really tough because you're going to be running into buildings and stuff. It'd be really, really hard to control. Spider-Man is kind of an easy superhero to get right. I mean, at this point, I would say yes and no. Yes, I would say tether swinging is something that's been around for a lot of games. So getting a tether swing mechanic right was probably not that challenging. Making it look and feel like Spidey was probably pretty challenging. I think the Spider-Man combat was probably their hardest thing. They needed it to feel like Spidey. Agile, keeping to the air, keeping moving, you can't get shot. It's not like Fisticuffs Batman where you're just kind of on the ground, just punching and breaking bones. Spidey has to stay on the move, you know? Guys, it is our second talk show of the day. We tried something a little bit differently today. We did our member stream in between these shows, so do me a favor and smash the like button if you're still hanging out with me for the day. Remember, this is a second show, and we need a second batch of likes. You could do so much content with stories with Iron Man and Tony Stark. I think my concern about Iron Man would be how often am I outside the suit? Because I didn't like doing that in Spider-Man. I didn't like the handful of missions and times I had to get out of the suit. It was okay, enough's enough. Let me get back out in the city. When I had to sneak around as Mary Jane and take pictures, and when you have to walk around the charity shelter as Peter, I'm bro, can I please get back in the Spidey suit and get the frick out of here? I'm not about this. I think part of Iron Man is you also need to be Tony Stark. And that's where I wonder if it wouldn't be, is that going to be fun to walk around as Tony Stark? You can't just have an Iron Man game where you aren't all Tony Stark. Well, yeah, but what are you going to do as Tony Stark? You're going to go run Stark Industries and have meetings and walk around the offices? That'd be my concern about an Iron Man game. It's going to feel like those old Assassin's Creed games where you're this is awesome. I'm an assassin. It's all right, you got to come out of the Animus and we need you to walk around the office and check some emails and check some memos so you can and then you can get back to having your fun. You got to find a way to balance it. I think if you're going to play as Tony even a moderate amount of time, Wheeze, it needs to be with Jarvis in like his lab. You need to be doing stuff in the lab. You could have dialogue there. You could have mini games. You could have, that's where you do some investment and upgrades. It's where you spend resources and research different things. You know, I don't know. I don't want to be walking around Stark Industries as Tony Stark more than maybe like one time. You do it like one time and then it turns into a mission where Tony has to use like some on-the-fly suit that he's been experimenting on, so you don't have your full suit. But outside of that, man, I do not want to be walking around in a dadgum, you know, $800, $1,000 suit just like I'm Tony Stark. That's probably not expensive enough. You'd upgrade your suit, annoy Pepper, do science stuff, just like in the movies. Iron Man is basically Superman without the invulnerability. Yeah, couldn't your time as Tony be just upgrading the suit? That's what I'm saying. Objective, attend the board meeting. Bonus for not sleeping during the meeting. Yeah, if you can keep Tony... If you can keep Tony awake during the board meeting, they'll give you bonus XP. That's right. That's right. Inventing in the lab, free roam, driving his experienced cars, looking for things to engage. Yeah, I guess you could have some cars. I could see doing that. You know, you could have some cars. You know, he's able to drive around town in some really nice. You know, he's got some nice stuff. He's got, you know, nice wardrobe, nice watches, nice cars, nice property. You know, what I miss news-wise? So apparently the latest Iron Man game news is that the Iron Man gameplay is already going under playtesting. Well, they're calling it one-on-one playtesting, which means they typically don't have a vertical slice of the game for this, but they're testing it with the public to see what they think of the story or the concepts. I personally think this might be related to Anthem. They may have gameplay slices of Anthem. They may have pieces of Anthem that they're going to let people see and let people, you know, check out. That way they can say, what do you think of this? Does this look good? Does the flying look good? Is this something you would play? If they're already exiting pre-production and they're going into one-on-one playtesting, I feel like our theories that Anthem could heavily be influencing or helping the early stages of this game, it could be why this feels relatively fast. It's like they just made the announcement, and the announcement felt early. Well, it's like, well, not only did the announcement feel early, but then like, what, a month later you're doing one-on-one playtesting? So I absolutely hate any time I'm not in control of the hero. The Arkham games didn't do that stuff. Yeah, I kind of agree with Infinite. Like, I didn't need to go and do anything as Bruce Wayne in the Batman games. You know? I didn't need to spend a large amount of time as Bruce Wayne in the Batman game. I just run around as Batman. You know? Create a scenario where you don't really have time for all of that. You could have Iron Man literally spending a lot of his time going back to base on a Quinjet or something and dealing with S.H.I.E.L.D. instead of dealing with going home. I'm not saying you can't go home and can't have Tony Stark segments, but I don't know if you need a lot of Tony Stark segments. I think depending on the environment they have you playing in, they can have special mechanics for when you're flying that keep you from running into buildings or small buildings on the ground. Like having to initiate landing, otherwise you can't go to the flow, and pushing you always from buildings when you get close with hand jets. Pushing you away from buildings when you get close with hand jets. To like, so basically almost like he automatically does things when he gets close to a building, almost like it's almost like in Mario Kart. They keep you from wrecking the cart by like kind of pushing you away from the walls anytime you get close to them. You could do something similar with Iron Man, like flying through the city, and if you're gonna hit a oh gosh, I have 113 comments on the clock app. What happened? What happened? What video went crazy? Yeah, that I can't even look. The skill-based vids over there are just going crazy. Yeah, automatically like Spider-Man starts wall running. Right. I like the idea of him automatically doing that. It's reportedly going to premiere on January 15th. Wow. The Last of Us series is reportedly going to premiere on January 15th. Making side stuff is tough in an Iron Man game. Yeah, you're not going to be like necessarily flying through a city and being like, oh, I hear a crime nearby. You would more or less do something like this. Tony Stark would like hack into the satellite systems or have the ability to use local satellite imagery, and it would signal to him, hey, 3 miles from here, 5 miles from here, there's a crime that's about to go down. Right? God's evening, chat. He meant to say good evening. Yeah. That's God's plan. Yeah, so you could easily say, hey, man, Tony Stark's got access to these satellite systems, dude. There's a potential crime 10 miles away, and you boom, and you fly really fast to get there. Listen to police radio? Yeah, maybe. Police radio listening feels a little bit more like Gotham and Bruce Wayne. I feel like Tony would have really advanced tech to do weapon system scanning and different sorts of crime scans, so that he wouldn't even need, to rely on like local PD. His own systems would detect it. $100 Superman game gets ripped from this game if they do the flying right. Oh, like DC's like, hey, they got the flying right. It's our turn now. We'll do it. We're gonna do a Superman game. I like the Peter Parker stuff in Spider-Man, but it's about as much playing as Peter as I would want. I'm kind of the same. Like it's like, okay, you kind of have to walk around as Peter. I liked doing the mini games in the lab for Doc Ock, and then the part that annoyed me the most is when you had to play as Mary Jane. I was like, what the frick, man? I don't want to be moving, like going around with a camera. What is this? What is this Nancy Drew nonsense? If I want to play a Nancy Drew DLC, I'd go find one. I didn't like those parts. You should ask Robert Downey Jr. if he could voice. I highly doubt they would be able to afford him. The number of lines he'd have to read, the amount of money, the amount of money that he would charge to do that that'd be pretty high. That'd be pretty high, brother. Robert Downey Jr. They wouldn't make any profit. They wouldn't make any profit. We didn't make any money. Why? Well, we had Robert Downey Jr. read a couple lines. It would be worth it. It wouldn't be worth it if they don't make any money. Lono and stealth segments. Yeah. Listen. If it's a stealth section, bro, I'm just going weapons hot. I got so annoyed with that stupid ghillie suit mission last night. The guys that walked past you in the grass, they glitched out and they wouldn't go past me. The mission soft locked. So I had to run past them and shoot them. And it's like, anybody that watches this, like if Creature goes and edits out all the deaths, they're going to be like, look at this idiot. It's supposed to be a stealth mission. Weapons hot. I swear, I was yelling, I don't want to do this in those parts. Yeah, and that's the thing. In an Iron Man game, it'll be fun to be Tony Stark for a little bit. But that doesn't mean I want to be like Pepper Potts running Stark Industries for a couple of scenes. You know what I mean? RDJ would cost a fourth of the game's total production cost. Yeah. How much you got in your budget? They're like, a couple $100 million. All right. He's like, I'm going to need a fourth of that. And I'm going to need the car to be at this temperature. And that's, I need this kind of food to be there on set. The whole AI he uses could pick up crime automatically from frequencies using the satellite. Would still have his own. Yeah, he'd have his own stuff for sure. Good news, we made a ton of revenue. Just like earlier, chat. Just like earlier. Well, you'd sell more copies of the game if you got Robert Downey Jr. You'd make more revenue. Yeah, but you'd make less profit too. He'd gobble up all your margins. I see an Iron Man game more as like a Wolverine type game with the main focus on the story. I don't see Iron Man running around the city stopping small crimes. Well, we'll certainly no, but what you would do, Vigil, I would imagine what you would do with Iron Man is you'd either take him to another part of the world where he's constantly shutting down arms deals and in like major problems, missiles, big threats. Either that or take Iron Man off-world and have him stopping. And then that gives you the ability to have stronger enemies. You have him on like a planet. You have him fighting like another race or something. That really can change. I think that can change how you challenge him, how you frustrate your power fantasy and your growth. That I think could be a good way forward for it. Because if he's just always going back home and working with Jarvis, is that necessary? Because if you're doing like an open world style Iron Man game, what does he need to be going back home and dealing with Jarvis? Or is it okay to let him go somewhere else? Take Iron Man off world. Iron Man gameplay doesn't need to be restricted. Because one thing they might want to avoid is having it feel like, well, this is just Spider-Man but really fast. If you take him off world, or if you take him to another part of planet Earth, you could open up a lot more gameplay opportunities. Again, shutting down military action, tanks, jets, arms deals, entire outposts of people that have massive weapons to use against you. Yeah, Lono on stealth missions. Yeah, I just get out the rockets. Could we get a couple more likes on the vid, guys? This is a tough one because I don't know how hot this topic is, but we have a great turnout, so we appreciate everybody being here. Just make sure you're smashing that like button. Open world Iron Man would be terrible. He needs large open set pieces that have a cinematic feel. Dubear says Iron Man may not be good for open world. Just give his missions large areas. Yeah, you don't need crime fighting Iron Man, but you could have him in a section of the world where, like what Eugene is saying, you'd go to like a big pre-built set piece area and be like, all right, there's a bunch of tanks and jets in this area. You got to fight them all. So you're not like zipping from one city or town to the next. You would do like that like really fast like thing that he does where he shoots and he's going crazy fast. They would do that as almost like a loading screen, and then you'd be like, and you'd like drop down into that area, and it would be like a predetermined set piece area mission. It wouldn't be super constrained, obviously, because you're Iron Man. You need a lot of space to fly around. Shutting down stand-ins, Russia invading. Yeah, you gotta be careful with that one. Loading screen in 2022. Yeah, you'd need to do it. You would need it to feel realistic that, like, he actually flew there. Because if you don't show him flying there, then I guess you could just do instantaneous load screens. Like, he would just, like, all right, I'll be there in a moment, and it would just, like, fade to black and fade up, and he'd just be in a new spot. It's almost like you need loading screens for this kind of a game. Because if you're literally going from, like, a city in Africa to, like, maybe, like, a city in Afghanistan or something, you either show him doing the flight as like a quasi loading screen, or you just like fade to black and then fade up and he's there. And the absence of a loading screen might make that feel kind of chintzy. You're like, what? Did I teleport here? What was that? You know what I'm saying? That might be one of the few times that like the absence of a load screen would feel awkward. Now fast travel is different. Because in like Ghost of Tsushima, when I would fast travel and there was no more loading screens, that wasn't a big deal because it's like, well, it's fast travel. We know what we're doing. We're skipping the travel. But in like a story, I feel like you'd want some sense of travel there. Cutscene maybe. Make it like Metro Exodus. You can make the loading screen a mini game with shooting down drones or something. He's Iron Man. He's taking his private jet. If he's suited up, he's not taking his private jet. If they give the loading screen a purpose, like Jarvis briefing him on the mission with some voice lines. Right. You'd be like going really fast. And be like, all right, Jarvis, brief me on the next mission. and Jarvis would be saying something to the effect of, locals have token arms and blah, 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 and then you're going to have to, there's going to be at least 3 bunkers you'll have to destroy, and, local military will likely respond. And then you get there, and then they scrambled jets at a certain point, and there's things coming after you, and you're having to fight the jets and the tanks, and, some of you have too much faith in EA. Well, but EA, what do you mean? Just because EA's money's behind it doesn't mean it's going to be bad. A $2 tip from TJ Rage. Flight Simulator Global Mechanics would be dope. The only COD M. What's good? He says, hi, how are you? If you guys are just tuning in, we are covering the latest Iron Man game news. The game is apparently already in one-on-one play testing. I want randomness and skill poses. Pose. Is the most. Oh, that's good. We'll let that one through. There we go. We're just approving a few comments here. Just because EA is greedy and kind of nasty means they can't make good games. EA make great games. Their main problem is their ethics. I have a request. If you know you can't do a certain voice, just do HBJ. Never explain it to the new people. I might be able to channel Jarvis. I would just have to think about his voice, Just do HBJ and never explain it. Brief me on the next mission, Jarvis. Well, you're going to get to the area. It's going to be real hot. There are going to be jets and tanks. You're like, that's not what Jarvis sounds like. Wasn't even close. It's like he didn't even try. It's like he just did a completely made up voice. It's like he didn't even try. Like all he can do is some hillbilly cowboy voice. Can't do any other voices. My kids would not make sense of that. They're like, you do so many voices when you read Redwall. Why are you doing that? This guy ever seen the Iron Man movies? Guys, the Iron Man movie I saw was a weird overdub. Sorry. I missed that Iron Man movie. What's going on? I need to buy a membership to this guy's channel. This guy says, can you sub to my channel, please? No, but I can ban you from mine. None of you are saying to get Josh Keaton back. He was so good in the Iron Man VR. What? I'm going to let you in a little secret. Man, June, I'm just going to let you know. Just you. This is just for you. Everybody else stop listening. Nobody played that game, bro. Nobody played the Iron Man VR game. That's why nobody knows who you're talking about. I'm sorry. I don't know how many people played it. I'm kidding around. I'm kidding around. If you guys are just tuning in for the latest Iron Man game news, apparently Iron Man gameplay has entered one-on-one playtesting, which doesn't mean they necessarily have a vertical slice of the game, but they may be answering questions and analyzing whether or not they would play a game. Now, I think, there's dozens of us, I think that they potentially are going to be using Anthem. That's what I think. I think they're going to be potentially using Anthem for these early playtests. Because according to Insider Gaming, this feels early, considering the announcement just happened. They basically did the announcement because they want to hire people to work on the project. So if you've been paying attention to the Iron Man game, they just announced this, and when somebody's like, well, why'd you announce this so early? Their general manager was like, well, we want to get people to come work on the project. This is common now in game announcements. A lot of the times you're getting an announcement that was basically a press release, and that press release is letting you know something well in advance that, in the past you might not have known. So now we're getting privy to these announcements well before we ordinarily would have. And I think in general, sometimes we need to remember that. Like, this announcement was designed to say, hey, we want to hire some talent, we want to get some people here, and we're going to push out this announcement to get the word out. Because people will say, oh, I love Iron Man. I'd love to work on an Iron Man game. Because if you think about it, you want people who love Iron Man working on the game, you know, people familiar with how great his backstory is, his abilities, his powers, it's, you know, etc. So it's not always about us. Huh? I didn't know there was an Iron Man VR game. I didn't know there was an Iron Man VR game either. A minigame where Tony holds a party and keeps himself from being too drunk for the next mission or be as drunk as possible. Yeah, that one might work. That one might work. Can we get 18 more likes on the video? 18 more. Also, something in this discussion. EA has a 3-game deal. Who do you think the other Marvel characters are? They apparently have a 3-game deal, by the way. This is not the only Marvel game that EA is going to be making. They are going to be making 3 total. Where do these other ones come from? What characters? We know one's Black Panther. Yeah, the Black Panther game basically got leaked. There's the Captain America game, but that's not EA. That's that Amy Hennig game. That's a different game. So apparently Black Panther. So you got Iron Man, you got Black Panther. People are saying Daredevil, Thor and Black Widow could work. Yeah, Black Panther's been announced. Yeah. But we know they have their own Black Panther game. Right. Why are people saying Daredevil? Deadpool or Hulk? I feel like they're going to want to avoid the Avengers. Well, maybe not. I'm kind of surprised that they would do anybody in the Avengers after the Avengers game. We get 9 more likes on the vid. Let's try to roll it over to 200 likes on the video. If you're just here tuning in for the first time today, make sure you're on live chat so you can see what everybody's saying. Hope they all crash and burn like Anthem did because of the way they handled Anthem. Sorry, still salty about Anthem. Gangs is like, sorry guys, sorry. So I had to say that. Sorry, you had to see that part of me. Black Widow would be an amazing stealth game. Yeah, give me a Black Widow game with the stealth and the gadgetry of a Splinter Cell and the hand-to-hand of I don't know. Any of the Assassin's Creed games that had a really good hand-to-hand. Need a new X-Men beat-em-up? I can see. I don't know. Hey, Behemoth gifted 5 memberships to the community. Thank you for doing that. If you guys just got a gifted membership, that is a base membership. That means all of this month you can watch all the content. But starting in December, those base memberships will be basically a sampling of members-only content. If you want a full membership, you right now can upgrade that gifted membership for just $1, and you would get all of the content. We're going to make that change in December. So if you right now are paying for your own membership, you might want to consider, we're calling on everybody to upgrade to the full, right? I usually tell you don't go full. I'm telling you to go full. So Infernal, ARXR, Cool Picks Cobain, Mike K, and Jesus is King. You guys all got memberships. Congratulations. Consider paying it forward and gifting more members or upgrading your membership to full right now. Anastasia, where have you been? Oh my gosh. How are you? Give Lono a stealth Black Widow and he'll show you a loud Black Widow that can complete the missions. Should that be a bit that I do? Is that the bit? Is that the members only bit once a week? Once a week, let's watch the Lono Goes Loud segment. Lono goes loud. He attempts to play stealth missions as loud as possible. You're really going to want to be quiet in this mission. Going loud! That might actually be comedy gold. Just totally lean in to the fact that I'm really bad at stealth mission. I'm just bad at stealth, bro. Lono goes loud. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Play Splinter Cell like I'm Judge Dredd. That's real. That's right. If you're feeling particularly spicy, come join me at the highest tier membership. That's right, says Distorted. That's right. VIP is cheaper now than it used to be. It's only $9.99. We lowered the price of VIP to offset some of this. Every time Lono's told to be quiet, he shoots his gun. You're really gonna want to be quiet here. What? Can you stop? What? What's the problem? Captain Price's voice. Yeah. Going loud. What's he say? Like 3.5 notches. He's all by himself. 4.5 notches. Yeah, the Amy Hennig game is not EA. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Captain America story-driven game is not EA. That's correct. That's correct. It doesn't allow me to upgrade, and I'm in Cali. I have a gifted membership. What's it tell you? Can you quiet down, you muppet? Yeah. Throw a grenade. That should do the trick. That's right. Am I the only one that wants a Doctor Strange game? Doctor Strange game could be really, really good because you could try to do some of like the rift hopping and rift breaking and time breaking that they did in Ratchet and Clank. You know what I mean? Anastasia said, working, and the twins just turned 3/3-naders. I love it. I love it. Oh, dang. When's he launching that? That man's going crazy. That man's going crazy. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll get my check mark back. I get my check mark back. Like, hey, you stole something for me and I bought it back for $8 a month. You got to use both analog sticks to cast spells. Yeah. You will find art. You're like, I broke my joysticks. Doctor Strange game sounds like an indie. Doctor Strange would be fun and possible to have other characters involved as well. Yeah. All hail Techno King. That's right. All hail the Techno King. When Bud says hold right to use the drone, calmly ask why my drone looked like a grenade. I don't know if anybody asked this. Why is Disney getting back in bed with EA for these Marvel games? Was the Star Wars experience not as awful as it felt? Well, here's the thing that they're probably looking for, Willie. They're looking for deep pockets. Like, they took away EA's, exclusivity for sure. They took that away, but that doesn't mean that EA can't put good money behind good devs, like Respawn. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Jedi Fallen Order played a role in EA still getting something out of the pie. Like, Jedi Fallen Order, I mean, if you think about Disney's properties, like Disney said, hey man, you guys did a great job with Jedi Fallen Order. You guys backed Respawn. Respawn made something good. EA still can, publish good content. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just took away their exclusivity because, like, we need other people working on this stuff. They took away the Star Wars license exclusivity because it's like, we want to see more content, from other companies. Like, more than likely, Disney said, look, Insomniac's crushing it with Marvel property. Imagine if we had more companies working on Star Wars property. Like, look how well these guys did with Marvel. So they're probably looking at EA and saying, listen, you guys had a great Star Wars game. You guys can make some Marvel games. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. Wheezy's saying it a different way. They're just basically saying, look, anybody can make Star Wars or Marvel games. Because previously it was like, oh yeah, only you guys can make Star Wars. But then look at the Marvel games that came out. Yeah, Disney reportedly wants new Star Wars games like every 6 months. Yeah, good luck with quality on that. I don't know if you guys saw that news headline. If you're just new and you're tuning in for the first time today or the first time ever, we're talking the latest Iron Man game news. No look at Iron Man gameplay just yet, but apparently they are playtesting the game already in something that's called one-on-one playtesting, which is a way for them to gauge public interest in the game. It started yesterday, and they'll be doing this through November the 2nd. And now we're talking about the fact that there's 3 total games that EA will be making for Marvel. We already know Iron Man, and we know Black Panther. Who could the third be? Let us know in chat what you think. Who would you like to see get their own video game? What superhero would you like to see? Love the new angle. You like that? Yeah, we added that second camera. We actually got the second camera. I primarily got it for the Lego channel that we haven't launched yet, so I can put it in the ceiling. I've completely built the X-Wing, and I've started the TIE Fighter. The TIE Fighter's been unboxed. You guys want to add more Legos to the Lego channel, or you feel like sending me something for my birthday, because it's in 8 days. God of War Ragnarok actually lands on my birthday. Use that wish list command. Where's my Gambit game? You know the problem with a Gambit game? People don't like him. I liked him as a kid. I thought he was awesome. But I don't think people like him. They're like, that guy's lame, man. He throws playing cards. Give me something better. Yo, thank you so much, 80JC, for 15 months of membership. Lono, your update hasn't changed on iPhone. It won't let me change my membership. It still shows the old prices in the App Store. They said that would be happening. They said that it would be happening for about a month. So you'll have to do it on desktop. Or use your browser on your iPhone. Talk about a game set up to fail. Yeah, nobody would want to play as Gambit. Listen, I say that with love in my heart. Gambit was my favorite as a kid, you know? What's up, mon ami? Like, I thought he was awesome in the cartoon. Life don't get much better than this. I liked him. I always drew it. I always get comics and try to draw him. I thought his hair was awesome. I thought his trench coat was awesome. And, you know, nobody likes him. You know what I mean? I don't think people like him that much. They'd be like, bro, there's so many awesome superheroes, and I'm playing as a guy that literally, he robbed a magic shop and he's throwing cards at people. Like, people wouldn't like it. Even though his abilities could be pretty dope in a video game. Do you think that Avengers has too many characters for the type of game they were trying to focus on? With just one character would have been better? Yes. Yes. If you imagine the Avengers game centering around one character and a bunch of, you know, skills, abilities, upgrades, and loot. Imagine the loot pool centered around one character. Actually, I'll do you one better. Imagine it centered around 3. No, I'll do you one better. Imagine the Avengers centered around 4 characters. They all have different abilities, and they all have different powers and skill trees, and they're really fantastic. You might even call them the Fantastic Four. I'm just spitballing, but I'm being cheeky. But you get the point. If you would shrink the amount of people you can play as, you could probably increase the quality of the characters, the skill trees, the loot, the impact of the loot, instead of having a game that feels like a mile wide and an inch deep. You know? Who cares if you go to the ocean and only go in ankle deep the whole time? You might have more fun in an Olympic-sized pool. It's got a deep end. It's got a shallow end. It's got a sense of progress. It's got a sense of size that's consumable. You know? Can you do me one better than that? I'll do you one better than that. You got a family. You got a husband and a wife. They come together. They already have their own kids. And, you know, it's a bunch of kids. And if their last name happens to be Brady, you might call the game the Brady Bunch. It's just a bunch of Bradys. That's not a superhero game. No, sorry. That's the best I can do. That's the best I can do. It's a Fantastic Four. That's all I got. An X-Men game would be pretty dope. My worry about an X-Men game is it would end up being very similar to the Avengers. It's just too many characters. If you're going to do a game like the Avengers or like an X-Men game, you almost need to build an MMORPG. There needs to be an ocean of depth for each character, because if not, why did you make so many? Just make a couple and make them all very good. Unpopular opinion, Hawkeye is bad. I love him and want to have him in a game. You know what's funny is that would be a really great co-op game. Hawkeye and Black Widow. That would be so fun. Imagine the co-op length and differences and the fun factor that you had in like It Takes Two. Make it a little bit more action, a little less arcade-ish, and imagine like It Takes Two with Hawkeye and Black Widow. More action, less arcade. Holy, that'd be so fun. You'd have all these different things you'd have to do. You know, you'd have archery things, you'd have close combat things, you'd have combo things you'd have to do. That'd be a freaking blast. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for being here. This is Reforge Gaming. We're covering the latest gaming news, and the latest thing today with Ironman game news is that apparently they're playtesting the game. So Gotham Knights. No! No, Zubair! We don't want any... I'm sorry. We don't want anything like Gotham Knights, okay? Don't you bring that devil worship here. I couldn't say it. Don't you bring that devil worship in my house. Don't you do that. You... I wish I could swear. You son of a... Like, just absolutely lose my mind. Guys, don't mention Gotham Knights. You'll really set him off. You'll really set him off. Hawkeye would suck when you're out of the suit. I don't even know the dude's name. Excuse me? Clint? You don't know Clint Barton's name? They gave him a whole show. He's a great character, Abe. Smashville with a 2-spot. Imagine an Archangel game. Fly and dive. He's OP. Have you seen those skits on YouTube where he fires the X-Men? He's like, oh, you're definitely fired. It's Professor X firing the lamest superheroes. He's like, you're a bird. He's like, it's not even like you have the gift of human flight. You have giant bird wings coming out of your back. Like, but my bones are hollow. And he's like, you're a bird. Those are the best. Those skits are the absolute best. Freaking Pete Holmes firing X-Men for being lame. The guy has these giant wings. He's like, you have giant bird wings. Oh, you're definitely fired. Professor, I assure you, I am not moist. Oh, his best one was when he fired Nightcrawler. Professor, I assure you, I am not moist. Fires Jubilee. Oh my gosh. Those are, if you've not seen those are very funny. They're very funny. He should have done more. He should just pivot to the Avengers and just fire the lame Avengers. Yeah, he fired Jubilee. He fired everybody at some point. He fired Rogue. He fired Storm. He fired Nightcrawler. He fired everybody. It was so funny. It was perfect. I could kill you with my mind. He would always say that when they leave. I could kill you with my mind. I'll read that in a minute. What's the channel? His name is Pete Holmes. If you look up fired X-Men getting fired or fires the X-Men, you'll find all of his videos. He's hysterical. He's a really funny guy. I believe he said to her about sparkles and fireworks. Yeah. I don't know how she got hired in the first place. Who, Jubilee? Yeah. Protect your cherished pictures and documents. Turn off reminders. Get out of here. What? That freaked me out. That absolutely freaked me out. Like some pop-up down in the corner. I hate that. Guys, we are just shy of 1 hour on the broadcast. We did a bit of an experiment today. It's going well. Could we try to aim for 300 likes? We are getting a good, I would say a better trajectory of new viewers. If you're new, maybe you've never been here before, we'd love to meet you. Hit subscribe so you can talk in the chat. What do you think about the latest Iron Man game news? What do you think about the potential of other superhero games? Iron Man and Black Panther being confirmed, but there is a third game that EA will be making within the Marvel Universe, and who would you like to see get a video game? We're obviously joking about the X-Men and different things and who's the lamest and who's the best superhero. Rogue, yeah, it really doesn't matter what version of Rogue there is. Rogue's always pretty fine. I think for a superhero game to succeed, first and foremost, it needs to have characters with depth. After that, you can attempt to move to adding more heroes, but that depth must be maintained. I think the less super they are, the more enjoyable they will be as a character. Right? I think the less super they are, the more enjoyable the game will end up being. Now, I know Spider-Man's supposed to be incredibly strong, but at the same time, he's kind of not incredibly strong. Like, he's not crazy superhero. He's Spider-Man. So you can make a great superhero game with him. Same with Batman. But I think you're going to run into problems with the Hulk and with Thor. I don't think you could make good games with them. I think Iron Man's on the bubble because, like, you put him in a suit, you can damage the suit can need to be repaired, right? He's stronger than Captain America. Right. He's stronger than Captain America, but I'm talking about super. I'm not talking about brute strength. Like, Captain America's crazy strong, but you can make a great video game with Captain America. Does that make sense? There's a difference between a superhero being just raw strength and having, like, superpowers. Like a Scarlet Witch game probably wouldn't be very fun unless they just totally, like, limited her strength for some reason. So you'd almost, like, yeah, I think Daredevil might be actually a good option. The only question would be, would they make you experientially have to experience his sonar vision and experience a form of blindness? Or would that not be a very fun game for people? They'd be like, I don't like not being able to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they made you have to, like, subversively experience Daredevil's sonar vision, that might not be very enjoyable for people. They're like, I don't like not being able to see stuff. Blade? Yeah, maybe. Wouldn't Daredevil just be a blank screen? No, he actually sees, but he sees through sound. So you could do a game where you see through sound, but I just don't know if people would like it. Moon Knight would be fun. It would have to be a third-person game with first-person elements. A first-person Daredevil game, black screen. But I know you guys are being funny, but he can see. He sees through sound. Yeah, I think Black Widow would be a great game, personally. I retracted. Yeah, everybody's making their own dad joke about it being a black screen. Yeah. Y'all taking my joke from 30 minutes ago. Do you honestly think that you think you're the first person to I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You're not the first person to make the Daredevil black screen joke. I'm just here to tell you. We don't know who the first person was. The judges are deliberating on whether or not it was a guy named Kevin from Montana and a guy named Steve out in California. They made the joke simultaneously once during a broadcast when the game suggestion was first made in 2018. And no one's really been able to decide who made the joke first. So we don't actually know the origins of the Daredevil black screen joke, okay? I stand with Steve. we don't know. We don't know who it was. I remember when you were Daredevil on that top-down 4-player game, they had just a little light around him and the rest of the screen was dark. Daredevil VR would be awesome, like legit would be bad, but so Reforge can read it. I'm good at filtering out swear words. You don't have to worry about that. The best game to make using a superhero has to be Judge Dredd. The game could be a looter shooter in a mega city with UE5. It could be dope. I could see a Judge Dredd game working. Yeah, because you could give him a really cool vehicle. You could give him armor upgrades and outfit upgrades and weapon upgrades and loot. Yeah. That could be good. Daredevil VR is a stereo headset. Oh, see, now that That was an original joke. That was very good. Daredevil VR is a stereo headset. That's perfect. I think even if Daredevil himself was a real person, I think he would think that that's funny. He would like that joke. He would. Daredevil remake. Oh, don't start talking about a Daredevil remake, dude. You're gonna get friggin' Skill Up to show up to our stream. He'll start talking, and he probably right now Skill Up just woke up and was like, "Huh?" He like heard it. He's got like a bat phone in his house, and he heard that someone said the words RoboCop game. He'll suddenly be in our stream talking. That's how you summon Skill Up. Daredevil would be like playing as a dolphin in a human body. Wait, but dolphins can see. What are you talking about? What? Who taught you that about dolphins, Smashville? That's not a thing. What are you talking about? He's like a bat. He's not like a dolphin. What do you mean a dolphin? Dolphins can see. Dolphins rely on echolocation. I know they rely on sonar and echolocation, but they can also see. They have eyes. They're not blind. I don't think people are going around blindfolding dolphins and being like, check this out. They don't even need their eyeballs, bro. In a stunning and shocking report, local funding's been pulled from the collegiate program of blindfolding dolphins. Sadly, not a single dolphin survived. Some guy goes before some grant committee. He's like, listen, I don't think we're really selling them as much as we should. We were selling them short. I really think we should be blindfolding dolphins. I bet they could be okay. They're like, no, you can't do that. They need their eyes. Bats use the same system. Yeah, but don't bats have like almost no visibility at all? Like they don't even use their eyes for sight, do they? No, Smashville, I'm seeing what it is. Lono hates dolphins. He's a bat fanboy. Listen, if we could find out that bats kill geese, if bats hunted geese, they would be my favorite. Yeah, there's the expression, blind as a bat. Yeah. If dolphins had great eyes, they wouldn't need echolocation. Or they have both. Like, I wonder, actually, I'm actually curious about that. Do dolphins have decent eyesight at all, or is their eyesight pretty poor too? I actually don't know the answer to that question. I imagine that having both is extremely beneficial in water that gets cloudy. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, I wonder if their echolocation actually helps them in water, because water can sometimes be cloudy and difficult to see in, even though they might have good vision. They have acute vision? Oh, so like just near. Oh, so it's like near. Okay. Have good eyesight in and out of the water? They can see through dark and murky waters. A young nameless girl experimented on by aliens after falling overboard on a cruise ship, gained the power to breathe underwater, and became the aquatic heroine Dolphin. I can cast anything, bat versus a goose. Well, the new term is blind as a dolphin. That's right. Can't see anything in here. I'm as blind as a dolphin. People would be like, what the frick? They're like, that's not the saying. What do you mean blind as a dolphin? Oh, yeah. They use echolocation. But that doesn't mean they can't see. Daredevil updates his costume, and he just puts a big dolphin fin right down the middle of his helmet. He's like, yeah, man. Taking inspiration. I'm no longer Daredevil. I'm the Dare Dolphin. People are like, man, who told him that? Who told him that that was the thing? He looks ridiculous. I can make out light and dark splashes. I'm more dolphin-like. They have to resurface to clear their eyes and breath. They're mammals. Surface level and out of the water, they're close to mid-sight's amazing. Yeah, I know. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, when he said that, it kind of shocked me. I was like, I actually thought they had good eyesight. Like, I didn't think they had, like, bad eyesight. They're not, like, running into, like, a ship if the ship's, you know, too quiet or something, or they, you know, they didn't do their echolocation in the right direction. I hate people who return from their honeymoon and they're like, oh, we went swimming with dolphins. Like, F off. Oh my gosh, Hilly. Happy wife, happy life. You're actually not supposed to swim with them. Sorry to say, but for Iron Man suit customization, it should be like Gotham Knights. Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and dispute the customization in Gotham Knights was actually quite good, right? So having I actually agree with you that customization of Iron Man suit would need to be really dope. Like you can, you know, change the colors if you want, change the armor if you want. You know, I actually don't disagree with you. The one of the shining examples of how to do customization right in a game with superheroes, I actually said that about Gotham Knights. I said this is the one thing they got right. Their character design, their armor design, and their customization was all fantastic. Do you want to know what it all looks like? Look really closely at the customization and the armor depth in that game. Reminds me of a mobile game, like it just does. Sure, there are blind dolphins, but they probably don't make it far in life. Yeah. People out here giving Batgirl all the boom. Yeah, I saw people saying that, like, there's a mod to remove her cape. They live at SeaWorld for their food. Right. Well, I don't even think they do that at SeaWorld anymore, do they? I've done the impossible. He said something was good about Gotham Knights. Joking. Still love what you're doing. Hey, no, when I was playing through Gotham Knights, I said that. I said you can see they put a lot of care into the character design and the armor and the customization. And not just the customization freedom, but the actual, like, amount of sets and stuff. There are some really good sets. They look awesome. You know? So, you know, I didn't actually have I didn't have any issues with that the level of customization in the game. I thought was quite good, and I thought it was one of the pieces of the game that, you know, showcased how it could have been a really good game, but, you know, it just wasn't. It just didn't do what it needed to do. The customization in Anthem would work if tweaked a little. Yeah, the customization systems in Anthem would work just fine in an Iron Man game, for sure. I don't disagree with that at all. Too bad they couldn't put that level of depth into the combat. Hear me out. A young man bitten by a radioactive dolphin. After months of recovery, he now has grown fins and he fights aquatic crime. He is known as the Dolphinator. But the Dolphinator sounds like he would be killing dolphins. Like, the Dolphinator. Wait, is he killing dolphins? No, he's a dolphin terminator. Yeah, that sounds like he terminates dolphins. No, he's a Terminator. He's awesome, and he kind of looks like a dolphin. He is a dolphin. His mom and dad are dolphins. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you could call him that. Getting revenge on all the dolphins. I had to mute for a bit. What in the world is a dolphin terminator? Guys, we're talking about the Iron Man game. What in the world's a Dolphin Terminator? Well, so what we were doing was the Iron Man game, it's not the only superhero game that's going to be coming out. They're also doing Black Panther, and they're doing a third Marvel superhero. And we were brainstorming on what would be a great superhero to get their own game, and we've apparently landed on Dolphinator. So we have failed. We have failed miserably to come up with a good answer, and and sadly, we'll have to take it back to the drawing board. Somehow we ended up on Dolphinator, and it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm not the one who said it. I got us on Daredevil because I said you would want to have superheroes that are not that super. You don't want superheroes that are that super. You would want them to be more in the line of like a Daredevil. Someone who is more like a fighter, more like, on the ground. I think the more super they are, I think the less enjoyable they are to play as, personally. I have a question for you. Do you think the third game will base off the original well-known hero or a less-known, newer hero? I would think you'd want to go with the well-known hero, right? I think you want a well-known hero. I don't think you want somebody that's not well-known. Because you can't, like street-level heroes. I definitely think you want a hero that's not super. Like, Spider-Man is really strong, but he's not, like, super. He's not Hulk. He's not Thor. He's not Superman. So, Daredevil, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Green Arrow. Like, you would want superheroes that are more street level. Because if you go too crazy, like, I don't think a Thor superhero game would be that enjoyable. I think a Thor superhero game would end up being like, it would feel kind of like a Superman game. Like, you're just so strong, it's not really enjoyable. Everything is easy. If I'm gonna play a superhero game, I want it to feel like I'm actually overcoming challenges and getting stronger and actually growing as a hero, growing in my finesse and my fighting. And I think that's really hard to do with a really strong superhero. If you're unkillable, you're not going to make a good video game. Right. Because, I think Iron Man might be one of the strongest ones that you could do. But again, you'd have to have so much of what he's doing and so much of what he's leveling and getting stronger at. You'd have to have it all rooted in his suit. You'd have to have it rooted in his suit. Embracer has shut down Onoma, formerly Square Enix Montreal, which announced its name just 3 weeks ago. Also, some Onoma staff will move to Eidos Montreal. Eidos canceled an unannounced game. Eidos is working on Xbox games like Fable. Yeah, I could see a Punisher game being awesome. A Squirrel Girl strategy game controlling squirrels. Thank you, Geek Ledger. I love that name. Geek Ledger with the $2 super chat tip. Are we going to be able to get 300 likes on this video? We might be able to. This is a scrappy stream. We did this experiment today with doing the member stream in the middle, and we'll have to do it again with a stronger second topic. This one was a little bit more challenging. Sadly, the news gets a little dry in the wake of Call of Duty. Like, nobody wants to talk because they're basically worried that Call of Duty will just continue to cannibalize the news cycle. But I could see a Punisher game looking pretty awesome if they did it like a Max Payne, or a Splinter Cell. While I agree with you with the Phase 4 push for a bunch of new heroes, wouldn't it make sense to just make the game with one of those instead of the old guard, which are being left behind like Iron Man? All right, see ya, Abe. You'd probably do like an RPG type with Doctor Strange, like Hogwarts. You have to do it right. Kratos is crazy strong with amazing fear. fears. But it's a great game, right? Right, but he's street level strength, Diaz. Right, he's street level strength. Like Kratos can't fly up in the sky and summon a storm. Like Kratos can't break the earth. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not even like, oh, Hulk and Superman are unkillable. They could literally just break the earth if they go too crazy. That just doesn't, I don't think that, oh, feats, sorry. Yeah, like Kratos has really great feats, but what they have you do in the game, I mean, maybe. So yeah, Kratos could break the earth, but is that necessarily is that the same because you hear about it? He's a god? Yeah. They really contain him though, don't they? Kratos is also fighting equals on a regular basis. Right, so if you did a Thor game, you'd have to take Thor, and he couldn't be on planet Earth. You'd have to take Hulk, and he couldn't be on planet Earth. You'd have to take him to a place where they're constantly fighting people at their equal. Constantly fight, like, Hulk would have to be constantly fighting, like, Titans and stuff. You couldn't do Superman, because, I mean, unless you take Superman somewhere where he's just fighting amongst other equals. No, he finds out some I don't know, some Krypton sister planet exists or something. So I guess that's a good point. You can do it with Kratos, which means you could do it with Thor or some of the other superheroes, but you'd have to put them in environments where they can't be beating up like street thugs or taking down like military, because it would be a joke. Like the Hulk versus the military, no one cares. That's dumb. He's just gonna get like, you know, a little annoyed with the tanks and stuff, or the, you know, the pull. They use like sound pulses on him in the one movie. You don't need plot reasons for a health bar. Yeah, I mean, no, I think you do need plot reasons for a health bar. If Thor or Hulk have a health bar, I want to know why. If you take some of these people to places where they're only fighting equals, then you lose their identity and their power fantasy. Kratos is a new character. Yeah, so they can just kind of put him where they want. Well, you could do it with Thor, Eugene. If Thor is in Asgard and has to go to all these other realms and fight all these other, you know, if he has to fight Zeus and stuff, you could definitely set it up to where Thor is in... Thor doesn't need to be on planet Earth. I think it gets a little complicated if you do anybody else. But I mean, Space Hulk was a storyline, so you could do it with the Hulk. I think it'd get really hard with Superman, because so much of Superman is associated with, you know, Metropolis and Clark Kent and, you know, stopping Lex Luthor. And so yeah, you could do it with Thor, and I think you could do it with Hulk. I think it's always going to be the hardest with Superman, because Superman is, as an identity, you know, he's just more firmly rooted on planet Earth. Outside of Marvel, Spawn would be a good character. Superman's only Superman on Earth, which means the minute you take him off Earth, why that's not interesting. You know, Black Adam would clap Superman. I don't know the lore and the mythology behind Black Adam, but at full strength, I don't know about that. I think Superman throws him into the sun, he burns up. They got 100% to a Planet Hulk game. Contest of Champions could be an entire game mode within the game as a tournament-style game fighting different Marvel characters. Off Earth, he's man. Thor can do interdimension travel. Earth is the last place he'd need to be. Eidos Montreal, which remains intact, canceled the Stranger Things-inspired Kids on Bytes game that was rumored recently. They're now working on a new IP, recently rescoped, a new Deus Ex, very, very early, co-deving partnerships with Xbox, including Fable. How about a Tick game? The problem with a game, if you do like a game like the Tick, I just don't think people take it seriously. So commercially, it just wouldn't be very strong. Thor and Natalie Portman were on the Graham Norton show. I like how you call him Thor. They showed a clip and the audience straight laughed at them. It was beautiful. What do you mean? They laughed at them. I'm not sure what you're saying. There are so many Marvel characters, just not many widely popular ones. If I had to put money on the table, if you're doing Iron Man and you're doing Black Panther, the third game, if you're making me bet, the third game that EA is making is going to be Captain America. And don't be like, oh, but Amy Hennig's doing a Captain America game. That game's going to be very different. And I think a lot of these games are already booked and in pre-production. So they could have already done that before even seeing the Amy Hennig game announcement. So I think they do. I think you do Cap. I think Cap would be... It would be very easy to have it be differentiated from the Iron Man game. You put him in a different era. You got his shield. You got great melee combat that you could evolve. You know, Ant-Man could be a good game. The clip was so cheesy, they just laughed and they looked at each other uncomfortably. Seriously, look it up. It's brilliant. Like, it's a clip from, what, Thor Love and Thunder? And it was really cheesy? Yeah, Wonder Woman has a game incoming. Yeah, but that's DC. You think the third would be Black Widow? Iron Man, Black Panther, Black Widow? Blade would be good. Same character from different devs is very risky. Yeah. But the Captain America game is not really a Captain America game. You play as 4 different characters. You play as Captain America, you play as Black Panther, right? It's not simply a Captain America game. So I don't know. I don't know if they would avoid Cap, because Black Panther is in the Captain America game. He's one of the playable characters. You can play as 4 different characters. The third game will be a team up like the Avengers. I could see that. I could see the third game being like maybe like the Fantastic Four or the X-Men or something. Deadpool with Ryan voice acting. I just don't know if you're ever going to see the actual movie actors have anything to do with the video games, because they would murder your budget. Ghost Rider. I think that's always going to be the challenge. You can't get the actual actors to voice the characters. They would absolutely murder your budget. You'd spend all your money on Ryan Reynolds. You'd spend every dime on him. You're like, oh, do we have any money for development left? He plays Agent Carter in Captain America. Ryan would do it for free. No, he wouldn't. A Horizon Zero Dawn Hawkeye game. I said a really good game would be Hawkeye and Black Widow, and make it co-op, and make it like It Takes Two. Just don't make it arcade-ish. Make it more action style. That'd be so fun. Something tells me that in order to make a superhero game, you're getting some sort of exclusive rights to that character to some degree. Okay, but they got Black Panther, and Black Panther's in that Captain America Amy Hennig game as one of the playable characters. Black Panther's also a significant DLC in the Avengers game. Like, I don't think they're treating the characters that way. It doesn't seem to me they're treating the characters that way at all. That's going to be Black Panther in 3 different games, including his own standalone game. He got a huge significant DLC in the Avengers game, and he's one of the playable characters in the Captain America Amy Hennig game. I just don't feel like they're treating the characters that rigidly. It might get a little confusing in the marketing, but they don't seem to care about that. Music artists kill game budgets as well. Look to GTA. Shang-Chi would work, but his popularity is an issue. True. Because you could make it like Kung Fu style. Kratos was actually a god in Greek mythology. He was son of Pallas and Styx. Their parents were Titans. Granted, the games don't follow the mythology. I don't think that's where they got him from. I think they created a brand new Norse god of war, did they not? You're probably right, but it just seems like a risky idea. I think we just need a good X-Men game, different characters and all. I think if you do an X-Men game, you'd have to limit the characters. It would have to be like you'd have to be Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, and I guess probably Jean Grey. Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey, and then just call it a day. Be like, those are the 4 characters you can play as. You go on missions, and you can switch between 2, and you pick which 2 you're going to go on the missions as and stuff. I don't know. Gambit. Yeah, Gambit. That's the problem with new characters, not well known. Kratos was originally Greek. Kratos isn't Norse, right? Well, they didn't rip him from another pantheon. They just made him up. Isn't he completely made up for the video games? Okay, so they're in Norse right now. Sorry. He's not originally Norse, but they didn't pull him from other mythologies, other pantheons. He's completely made up. In Greek mythology, Kratos, or with a C, Kratos, is the divine personification of strength. He is the son of Pallas and Styx. Kratos and his siblings, like Nike, Bia, and Zelus, are all essentially personifications of a trait. Kratos is first mentioned alongside of his siblings in Hesiod's Theogony. Kratos is a human warrior. God of War 2018 was not the first one. There's a whole trilogy of Kratos in Greece. Right, but he's still a made-up character, is he not? He's not the Kratos from the Greek pantheon. He's just a made-up character. I thought they made him up so they could do whatever they wanted with him. I didn't mean to say he was Norse. I was thinking of the most recent game, like him existing in that Norse world, but that's not where he came from. They literally have said it was a happy mistake. Kratos is purely fabricated. The Midnight Suns game recently had a video that outlined the combat. They're actually still continuing with the game, and it's been marketed quite a bit recently. He's made up in the game, but his story originated in the Greek stuff. It was a happy accident, they say, or plagiarism. Ryan Reynolds would do it for a reasonable price because he wouldn't want anyone else voicing Deadpool. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and speak for Ryan Reynolds, but I just can't see him doing a really lengthy amount of voice work for a video game and doing it for nothing or doing it for dirt cheap. I just don't know. I don't know about that. They didn't base Kratos from God of War off Kratos from Greek mythology. Second screenshot, 100% made up. The character was given his name at a late stage in the development of the original game after the character had already been fleshed out. Unaware of the actual mythological god named Kratos appearing in Prometheus Bound, the creators coincidentally chose Kratos, the same Greek word meaning strength, of which the mythological figure is the personification. Stig Asmussen, who worked on the first 2 games and was game director of God of War 3, called the naming coincidence a happy mistake, noting that the Kratos in the game and the one in Prometheus Bound are both pawns. Zoran of California State University, Long Beach, observed with irony that while the mythical Kratos is best known for chaining Prometheus, in God of War 2, the video game character releases him. Yeah, so he's just made up. Forget Ryan Reynolds. I couldn't believe Mark Hamill did the Joker. Yeah. Yep. He has been open about being pretty possessive of the character. Like, I could see Ryan Reynolds really wanting to be involved, right? I could see him really wanting to be involved with a Deadpool game. But I don't necessarily think that means he would like do it for free, or, you know what I'm saying? That's false. David Jaffe says otherwise. What's false? The quotes I just read from the people who originally worked on the game and the creation of the character, those people are lying. The Greek arc for Kratos is so odd, though. Once you're rich as Ryan Reynolds, you ain't hanging over pay anymore, are you? Maybe just me. Well, again, I'm not going to speak for Ryan Reynolds. I mean, I would love a Deadpool game, because the Deadpool game you can play right now is not that great. You know, it's not terrible, but it's also not very good. David made the game. Do you have an article where David Jaffe disputes what these original creators are saying? Jaffe made the game. Do you honestly think I need told that? You don't think that I know that? You think that clown is trustworthy? Also, do you have an article of him saying that's not true? You have an article of David Jaffe directly contradicting the people who originally worked on the game. Right here, we have who worked on the first two games. You have Stig Asmussen, and you have that guy was just from a frickin' university who just noted the irony. So you have an interview where what's David Jaffe say that's contrary to what we just read in an article that did interviews about it? Yeah, a documentary on the game is the source. The annex? I'm not sure what you're saying. Jaffe worked on those games as well? Right, but I got somebody in my chat saying, we just read interviews about the formation of the character in a documentary about the game, and someone's like, that's false. Jaffe says otherwise. Where? What did Jaffe say that's contrary to what we read? What we read isn't even that controversial. It was just like we were making the character, and him having the same name as a Greek god was an accident. It wasn't on purpose. That's all we read. We didn't read anything that bombastic. You want to go to David DLC Jaffe? What did he say? Someone trying to argue that Kratos is a real god? I don't know. I don't know what he said. Sofa is saying that's false. LOL. David Jaffe says otherwise. What did he say? What did he say that's in contrary to what we just talked about? Kratos is not going to stop until all the gods are dead. Yeah, I mean, they'll just drop in a new pantheon. They'll just be done with Norse. We're so far off topic. I don't even know how we got on this. How did we get on this? Oh, we were talking about... The reason we got on the subject of Kratos is we were talking about the Ironman game news. We were talking about what sort of superheroes would make good games. And I said really, really strong superheroes would be tough to make a good game with. And somebody was like, well, Kratos is really crazy strong, and they made great games with him. You want the RoboCop game? Nova can Google it if he wants. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, never agree with the DLC comment from the jump. He's since walked it back himself. Don't really understand the attitude. The attitude that what? Somebody claimed something in chat was false, and I'm asking him to substantiate it. Dropping it, it's not worth it. Look into this. Okay. So you claimed that we read direct quotations from people who worked on the game in a documentary about the formation of Kratos as a character. You claimed what we read was false. When we ask you to substantiate it, you say, I'm dropping it, it's not worth it. With respect, frick you. Actually, no respect intended, offense intended, frick you. Like, what are you doing? Why even do that? We were We were literally trying to figure out the origins of the character. We're not trying to run some false story about Kratos. We go and we find an interview about it, and you're like, that's false, LOL. David Jaffe says otherwise. Okay, what did he say? What did he say? Where did he counter the claim? Trying to make games the same quality as God of War games in their time by current day standards would be insane. I wouldn't count on it. Well, I think what they were saying distorted. They weren't necessarily saying it needs to be at the caliber of God of War. I think what they were saying is you could make a game and contain the character. So you could make a Thor game and contain him in a world where he's fighting amongst equals. You see what I'm saying? Like, you could do Space Hulk and have him fighting amongst equals. I don't think people were saying that, like, oh, they better make a superhero game at the caliber of God of War. They were simply referencing, like, God of War to be like, well, Kratos is crazy strong and could, like, break the world if he wanted to. And yet they made a game with him. They were pushing back on what I said about Thor. I actually think it's a fair pushback. I was like, you could make a really good Thor game, put him in the 9 realms, make him fight equals, make him fight gods, and it would probably work. You could do the same thing with Space Hulk. You have to take the really super strong heroes and you have to take them off planet Earth, or it wouldn't be any fun. It wouldn't make any sense. It's like, run around as Hulk and nothing can really stop you. Charlie Wen, the director of God of War 1 and 2, was responsible for designing Kratos. Wen said that his direction for designing Kratos was much influenced by similarly themed films, as his was in pop culture, which led him to conceive Kratos on a series of napkins at a restaurant, having forgotten his sketchbook, introducing the idea of a double-chin blades and eventually Kratos' iconic design. Double-chain blades were chosen as Kratos' signature weapon because they emphasize the character's animal nature while also allowing combat to remain fluid. When visualized, the double chain blades activating simultaneously as Kratos threw them with a balance of ferocity. Jaffe said the final version of the character, Kratos, may not totally feel... So yeah, it looks like they interviewed Jaffe in this documentary about it. Jaffe literally chimed in at the end of that paragraph. And there's an article on PlayStationLifestyle.net. Jaffe reveals inspiration behind Kratos. It took a long time to figure out what Kratos would look like, and ultimately took inspiration from Edward Norton in American History X when he played an N. There's this scene in which the cops arrest him, and you can just see how buffed and built he's gotten. I showed that to the artist. I said, okay, that sense of power and aggression that you see in his face, can you somehow take that essence and what he's exuding and somehow turn it into the character that fits into the Greek mythology world? So Jaffe is not countering what we read. He's literally saying it wasn't inspired by the Greek Kratos. It's not inspired by the guy named Kratos in the Greek pantheon. It's a total made-up character. That's all we were claiming. And Jaffe's saying literally exactly what you were talking about. Oh, you were talking to Creature, not you, says BM. I definitely don't agree with Jaffe on a lot of things, but to dismiss all his opinions based on one comment... Oh, I wouldn't dismiss all of his comments. There's so many people in the industry. Why would we really pay much attention to somebody that, I don't know. Eugene says, Sofa living up to his namesake once again. He's based off American History X. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's got nothing to do if Kratos in the game was a Greek god, nor inspired by the one supposed to be like he's existing, like an existing one, which is what the convo was about. Yeah, we didn't read anything that needed to be countered. We went and found an article, we went and found some info, we read it, and he was like, LOL, that's not true. Or no, he said that's false. That's not what David Jaffe said. I just read what Jaffe said. I was just trying to connect this Kratos to Kratos. Right, and Smashville, that sent us down a line of investigation. Kratos in God of War has nothing to do with Kratos in Greek mythology. That was kind of the point. Daffy's an industry vet from nearly 20 years ago. He's out of touch with the games industry today. He's a YouTuber now, and I treat his opinions tantamount to that of a YouTuber. Yeah, I mean, Smashville noticed that there was a Kratos in Greek mythology, and it sent us down a path of being like, yes, but that's not what this Kratos is meant to be. The names being the same is an accident. He's a totally made-up character. And then they named him, and it was like a happy mistake that it ended up being the guy who's supposed to exude strength in the Greek pantheon named Kratos with a C. Like, it was like a happy coincidence. It's not the inspiration or birth of the character Kratos in God of War. I thought there was a basis. Well, see, a lot of people did think that, Smashville, so, like, you're not out in left field for thinking that. A lot of people thought that. They thought, oh, Kratos, he's fighting Greek gods. It's the Kratos from the Greek pantheon. And the people who made the character were like, no, that was just a happy mistake. It's a totally made-up character. So you're not the first person to think that, oh, yeah, look at this. This is Kratos. Totally thought he was from Greek mythology. Yeah, exactly. See, I think a lot of people probably thought that. That's why we went and found the article from the creators that were like, actually, no, he's just totally made up. And then when we named him, it's kind of an accident. We're like, oops, we named him after this Greek guy who's supposed to be exuding strength. I can't imagine anybody reading the thing that Smashville read and not thinking, oh, that's Kratos. Because he literally is supposed to exude strength. And it's like, well, he has a god of war. Look at him. The whole point was Kratos was completely made up and inserted into Greek mythology in the God of War games for the sake of the games, and he wasn't based on any existing ones. That's right, that's right. So it's an easy mistake to make. It's not like the Kratos in the Greek pantheon is like, you know, the god of beauty and flowers, and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. It's like he's literally supposed to be the embodiment of strength. I mean, and you look at Kratos and you're like, yep. You know, I think it's an easy mistake to make. I didn't know that until just now. I knew he was made up. I just didn't know that that's how it came to be. I also didn't know he was inspired by Edward Norton in American History X. I would have failed that on a quiz show. I wouldn't have guessed that. If that would have been a multiple point thing on a quiz show, I'd have thought someone was pulling my leg. Kratos was inspired by A, an original Greek god named Kratos who's supposed to embody strength. B, Ed Norton from American History X. C, any bald man. Like, you know, I would have been like, I would have thought that the Edward Norton one was a joke. I'm like, oh, they just put that in there to be funny. I didn't know that either. Everybody learned something. Everybody learned something today. And Sofa, you know, chimed in and made it look like we had said something dumb. He was like, LOL, that's false. Jaffe said otherwise. It's like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. When we get 30 more likes on the vid, guys, let's set our sights on 300 likes. We tried something a little bit different today. We're going to try it a couple more times. Hopefully, we get some maybe stronger stories. We do know that the Iron Man game news wasn't particularly strong, but we did our lead show, then we did a member show, and then we did this show. And we're going to try that for the rest of the week, I think. More members got to see the members stream, so we're going to continue to try that. We feel like that might have been a better format. It gives more members an opportunity to see it, and then it gives more people an opportunity to consider becoming a member. I'm not offended for him, says BM, but he's one of the few industry people who's still ballsy enough to give ostracized figures a platform. So the antagonism towards him from this community is odd. I mean, I don't know. Who's he giving? What ostracized figures is he giving a platform to? I'm not sure what you're saying. And I don't think people are being antagonistic to him. I think people are saying he's lost some of his credibility. Like what Eugene is saying, you can damage your credibility. Like, if you say not nasty, if you say, you know, antagonistic, negative things that aren't rooted in reality, and you get called on it and it hurts your credibility, I would expect people to think, I'm not going to take that person seriously anymore. Like, I don't know anybody who paid attention in June of 2020 to the gaming press. Like, I lost a mountain of respect. I don't respect almost anybody in gaming press anymore because they're not the press. They're glorified content creators. So, and I'm trying to forge something with Reforge Gaming that is significantly better than most of the gaming press, because most of the gaming press is bought and paid for, and a lot of them don't have any integrity. They're not honest people. They're glorified content creators that get sent press briefings from really big companies so they can run AdSense on a blog. So, yeah, I think people do lose their credibility. And then there will be antagonism toward them. Like, sure, I'll sit here and quote gaming press and use gaming articles to run my show, but, like, I'm still pretty antagonistic and pretty, like, lacking of respect for gaming press because it's a joke. So Jaffe has a lot of people that look at him and think, I don't respect him. He doesn't have any credibility. He ran with a negative headline and took a swipe at God of War Ragnarok, and it stirred up all the fans, and then fanboys and everybody else were running with a DLC narrative about God of War, which was completely uncalled for. And he initially tried to defend it and tried to claim that anytime you do a sequel, it's DLC. He didn't walk it back until he realized that just like the clown makeup was coming to full completion. You know, he's still a consultant in the industry today, so that immediately debunks that content. And I need examples of what do you mean he gives platforms to ostracized figures? Like, that's something that he does? Who would be a good candidate for Marvel for a game? Aaron Stack, the Machine Man? I'm actually not familiar with that. I'm not familiar who that is. My view of Jaffe is he's a relic of a bygone era turned YouTuber living on the credibility of his storied past. He's doing what other people do on this platform, creating clickbait. Oh, he brings canceled people on his channel? He worked on the original trilogy, but not anymore. He's not been on the game since before 2018, right? I don't think he touched 2018. Blade would be good. A lot of people said Blade. Unfortunately, the Blade movie is in... Yeah, the Blade movie looks like it's going to be a long time from now. Unfortunately. Jeff is a good guy. Now y'all slandering the man? Who's slandering him? Who? Corey says in his view, he's a relic of a bygone era and now he's a YouTuber. Okay, that's Corey's opinion. I simply recounted what happened. He called a sequel DLC. Okay? First of all, the height of your background can make you fall further from grace. Okay? If you're actually from the gaming industry and you've worked on big titles and you refer to a sequel as DLC, I'm sorry, you fell all the way down the stairs. You that's dumb. That's like dumb caveman dumb, bro. He was right, though? No, he wasn't. If he was right, why did he walk his statements back? Why did he try to claim, thank you for the $1 tip, Bill Poggi. Why did he try to claim that like every sequel is DLC? And then he's walked the statements back. He wasn't right. There was nothing he was right about. Calling it DLC is false. It's not DLC. And let me guess. I can feel it. Hang on. You're going to say the game started as DLC. I can feel it. I can feel it. Here it comes. I first knew Machine Man in the 3rd volume of Marvel Zombies by Fred Van Lente and Kev Walker. Aaron Stack with Jacosta. They want a bad duo couple. Oh, yeah, I'm just not familiar with that. The game is more of the same. I'm playing Ragnarok right now. It's more of the same. All right. You're done here. Can't take it anymore. in a stream that's supposed to be about Ironman games, I just can't take it. Can't take it. Just a zero tolerance policy for liars. I'm just done with people like you. You're aptly named because you are so fucking dumb. You are Sofa King, bro. You are. You are aptly named. And now you're Sofa King banned. So. I just can't take it anymore. I'm not going to abide liars. Like, you're not allowed to come into my chat. You're not allowed to come into my chat and disrupt like that anymore. You just can't. I'm just tired of it. It's like we can't talk about anything without some clown coming in here and doing that, and I'm done with it. Your membership isn't worth the headache. Oh, and by the way, the person we just banned made a claim that we falsely reported something, and when we pressed him on it, do you know what he did? He went quiet. He went quiet like a coward for like 10 minutes, and then wanted to come back in and say that we were slandering the man. So, I don't know. Look up Colin Moriarty. Pretty big journo at IGN a few years back was canceled for one of the more dumb reasons. Jaffe was one of the few people in gaming who let him tell his side. Okay, BM, I'm not familiar with anything that you just told me about, okay? And I always appreciate somebody who will actually do that, you know? Like, hey, we're going to let both sides of the story be told. Like, I don't know every single sensible journalistic outlet in the history of journalism, except, of course, in 2020. So, okay, that sounds great, but that doesn't mean he has credibility in my book when he comments on things related to games. Like, why? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, once somebody does that, it just makes me suspicious. It just makes me suspicious. It's like, well, you took this swipe at this game, and then you tried to defend what you said, and then you walked it back under public pressure. So it's like, that's great if he's going to look at the industry and say, hey, this guy deserves to tell his side of the story. We do need more people like that, for sure, because most of the gaming journalists out there are just cowards. Dyed-in-the-wool content creators who need ad revenue, cowards, who will never stand up for what's right and never report on things accurately when there's the chance that it'll hurt their career, right? They won't tell both sides. They'll tell the side that pays the bills. So, sure, it's great that he did that. Good for you. Thanks for standing up for somebody that probably needed a lifeline. I had people do that to me, and it literally felt like a lifeline. It was like, oh my gosh, somebody who will actually listen to me. That can literally breathe life into dead lungs. But that doesn't mean he has credibility in the gaming world after what he pulled with Ragnarok. You know what I'm saying? Never said the man was perfect, just elaborating on my earlier comment about ostracized figures. Also, like I said, he's far from perfect. Right. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm perfect either, but at the same time, I would expect for people to come at me if I started having really weird takes that ended up, being completely unsubstantiated. One of the reasons that I like running an I told you so story is because I get a lot of grief and a lot of hate from people when I make predictions and they're like, you're just being a hater, you're just being a fanboy. And it's like, no. So I try to establish my reliability and credibility sometimes by being like, told you guys this was going to happen, told you this game was going to be bad, told you this thing was going to turn out this way. And so when he did what he did, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't, why would I trust that guy's, credibility on gaming topics? Why would I trust what he's saying? Corey says I have, and his normal stuff is all clickbait that's designed to get people to fight in the comment section. Yeah, I don't pay any attention to his content. So I'm not going to sit here and bash someone's content and talk negatively about his content. I'm just saying, for me personally, when someone does something like that, yes, I'm going to call his credibility into question. Like, oh, okay. Not to mention BM, we went down this rabbit hole because somebody made a false claim. Like, Sofa made a claim that was false. He claimed that Jaffe countered what we read, and that wasn't true. Jaffe hadn't said anything that countered what we read about the formation of Kratos. We found an interview with Jaffe about the formation of Kratos, and it was exactly what we had said. It was exactly what we had read. It was nothing different. It was nothing contrary. So, like, obviously, when that guy tried to cite Jaffe, everyone's going to kind of roll their eyes like, oh, yeah, Jaffe. Like, obviously, we're not going to have a whole lot of love for him here because we had to deal with his ilk for a long time. We had a lot of people in our chat that would cite him and would cite the DLC thing and would disrupt our God of War streams. So, yeah, we don't have a whole lot of affection for the man here because there was numerous times where we tried to do streams about God of War and I had to deal with like little Jaffeianites who would come in here and be like, well, you know the game is DLC. You know the game started as DLC. And I got freaking sick of it. And it's like, he's the one that put that out there in the ethos. He's the one that did that. As an authority, as somebody who used to work on the game, that's what he did. And so, yeah, a lot of people here are going to be like, Jaffe? That's the attitude. Nobody was nasty. Nobody called him a name or he's a total piece of garbage or whatever. Like, no one was being nasty about it. Speaking as a huge fan of Jaffe, he's an example of never meeting your heroes. I feel like the person who he is on YouTube is not the person who is passionate about games and the creation of games. Also, to be clear, it's not the first time he's made a BS claim, been countered on it, and refused to back down and continued to lie. Right, that's the second time. I don't even know. That's the second or third time we've had to do that with Sofa. Like, Sofa got me so riled up once in a member stream, I just ripped him apart. I was like, bro, what are you doing? He did something in a member stream like that, and he absolutely set me off. It's like, don't do that. Don't come in here and false claim stuff. It's annoying. I honestly thought it did start as a DLC, and then they realized they had something and made a full game. Yeah, but even saying it in that way doesn't accurately depict what happened. They were quite literally sketching out potential storylines for DLC and realized any of the storylines that they would take would be way too big for a DLC. That's the extent of it starting as a DLC. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you say it started as a DLC, the average person thinks, oh, they started building a DLC and then ripped it out, and now we've got a game that's built on that. Nope. They were literally writing, probably on a dry erase board, potential story arcs of what could we add to God of War 2018, and nothing was small enough to be contained in a DLC. So saying it is just like, you've got to expand on that, because the average person's going to hear it started as DLC and they're going to picture something completely differently in their mind. It's just what I heard. There's a reason that you heard it that way, James, because you had one of the guys who used to work on the game say God of War Ragnarok is DLC. And then people ran with God of War Ragnarok is DLC. It started as DLC, which obviously makes people think it's going to be crap. It's going to be diluted. It's going to be cut content. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be a true sequel. So he started this entire ethos of dishonest nastiness about Ragnarok, and it just got annoying. So yeah, obviously when his name comes up, people get a little antagonistic or get a little riled up. I got here late, but the Kratos origin thing was the first part of the conversation I heard. I understand he's caused frustration in here. Gaming commentators will never stop having takes. Sure, BM. No, they won't. They certainly won't. And we will react to and engage with people that we think bring good things to the table. I probably will never react to any of Jaffe's content because I don't think, from what I've heard and what I've seen, I don't want to give him a platform. I don't want to help his platform. I don't think he contributes good things to the conversation. Maybe in a year, think, I'm all about redemption arcs, maybe in a year I'll think differently. I'll see a clip, I'll see a video and think, you know what? I feel like this guy is strumming a different guitar now, He's plucking different strings on the banjo. But what I've seen up to now, no. No, I don't think so. We like to react to content. We like to engage with various takes, but I just don't see the point in doing that at this point with him, which makes, and again, we have a history on this channel of trying to cover A or trying to cover B, and then these guys have to come in here and do the take a swipe at God of War, take a swipe at Sony, take a side, make sure and talk about Jaffe, make sure and talk about DLC. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't help themselves. And that's why I'm immediately always on guard when someone's going to do that. Like, as soon as he said that, I said, here we frickin' go. A guy with a history of making false claims in my stream is like, that's not true, LOL, Jaffe says otherwise. And it's like, here we go. So, we're typically not that reactionary to somebody saying something like that. But somebody with a history in our community citing Jaffe, yeah, you're probably not gonna be met with open arms and love and reception when you say something like that. And to a certain extent, I think it's good for us to draw those lines, because as we're continuing to form and grow a community, I want people like that to just not feel welcome, because they're not welcome here. I don't want people like that here. I don't want people that don't argue in good faith and make false claims. It's disruptive. It's a very, very low level form of trolling, because it completely disrupts chat, and we waste a bunch of time dealing with what amounts to a dead take. It's a dead take. It's not living. There's nothing about it that will give us a good back and forth. I'll give you an example. So today, Creature was outlining ways he thought Game Pass might come to Sony. And we had this really nice back and forth. It was a great hot debate. Okay? Why? Well, that's a living take. It's alive. It can breathe. It can, say things. But a dead take, it just drags the stream down into the gutter. And it's like, so now I've got to sit here and outline why what this person just said is false. And it's like we almost have to stop the car. We have to get out and change the flat tire, because if not, this dum-dum's just going to keep saying these things in my chat. And that's why I just don't have as much tolerance for it anymore. It's like, you're not helping what we do here flourish. You're trying to drag it down. Fair enough. I'd watch a debate on the topic between I'd have watched a debate on the topic between both of you anyway. You would watch me debate Jaffe? I just wouldn't do it. I don't think it would be good content. Can't you as a streamer just choose to ignore them? Donald, it depends, because you have to understand something. If I just ignore people saying things that are contrary to what I'm saying, people will be like, he's just ignoring pushback. He's ignoring disagreement. It's also really challenging when you're a highly interactive streamer and someone with a badge or someone who's here all the time is saying stuff like that. I can't just ignore them. It doesn't work. What it does is, it almost feels like then the chat's dissonant. I've tried it before. I'll just ignore what somebody's saying, but they press on and they keep saying things. So you almost have to eventually address it. You have to say, hey, look, man, what the frick are you even saying? And crap takes that affect chat too. Yeah, other people are seeing what he's saying. Like, when someone comes in and says something like that, let's say I ignore it. Well, other people in chat see it. People in chat are going to potentially respond. It's an organic thing. Chat's a living thing, so you can't just say, oh, well, if the streamer doesn't read it, then it won't get any footing. Oh, well, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. If you watch the way I talk, you can easily identify when I'm just saying crazy stuff. Well, and sometimes when Creature says something crazy, I know he's trying to, like, stir up chat, and that's a little bit different than somebody being dishonest. Like, there's a difference between Creature saying something that he knows, like, maybe he'll say something intentionally Neanderthalic or silly, and he knows everybody's going to get fired up and debate him, or he's going to get me fired up. That's not the same as somebody being willfully dishonest. Like, they're going to come in and be willfully ignorant and say something that they just know isn't true. Yeah, chat will easily get distracted, like what Eugene is saying. The whole community shifts because people are like, it's almost like I said, it's like we're humming along, and then all of a sudden, it's like one of the tires gets flat, and they're like, what the heck? Why is this person saying this? So I think sometimes, you know, I have to take the time to address what's being said. How do we go from this, from Iron Man to Dolphins to Jaffe? So we went from Iron Man to potential Marvel characters that would make a good game to Daredevil not being able to see, to echolocation to Dolphins. Dolphins came back to potential characters that would make good superheroes. I said really, really strong, super godlike heroes like Thor wouldn't make a good game. That led to people referencing God of War and saying, well, actually, Lono, Kratos could break the earth. And even though he's that strong, they still made a game where they kind of contained his strength and he was on equal footing, which led to somebody saying, oh, Kratos, I didn't realize this. Here's the Kratos from Greek mythology. So then we had to say, now, wait a minute. That's actually not the Kratos from the Greek pantheon. This is actually where he's from. The name was a happy coincidence, which led Sofa to say, that's false. That's not what Jaffe says. LOL. When we countered what he said and pushed back on it, and we actually found what Jaffe had said about the origins of Kratos, he decided to go quiet for 10 minutes, and then he came back and claimed that we were slandering Jaffe, and then called God of War Ragnarok DLC, said he was playing it right now. Doubt. And I banned him. That's how we got here. We've heard it all today, gang. Kratos is real, Dolphins are blind, and Jaffe is credible. What a day. Yeah, oh yeah, and Ryan Reynolds would voice Deadpool for no money. Yeah. I'm impressed AF. I had no idea how we got here. What, you don't think I can track where we've come from and where we're going? I ought to be able to after I've done it as long as I have. Sadly, this has been a really fun stream, but the topic wasn't hot enough. The stream did poorly. I had fun, but the stream did very poorly. We had a blast. Like, this community could talk about anything. You know what I mean? We took a pretty weak story. This wasn't a particularly strong story. I'm passionate about it, which is why we did it. This is one of those self-indulgent talk shows where we kind of go into it knowing we're like, this is kind of a weak story, but you guys know me. I love to talk about Iron Man. I love to talk about Anthem, and I love to talk about superhero games. So this was a self-indulgent stream. We knew it wasn't going to be particularly strong. Like, people aren't really looking for Iron Man right now. There will come a time where it'll be a very exciting game to cover because we'll start to have gameplay and things to look at. Is it more typical than second streams? A little weaker than our usual second streams. I attribute it to the topic, Eugene. I don't attribute it to the new format. I don't think the format hurt us. In fact, the format seemed to help us as we got close to the 1 hour mark. I actually felt like the viewership was more favorable than it typically was. Usually we would get to the hour mark and we would start going down. We got to the hour mark and we kind of actually climbed and crested, but sadly we got off topic, which might have hurt us. We got off topic because there wasn't much to talk about. Like, the Iron Man stuff was, like I said, we knew it was weak. It was a self-indulgent choice. To do this. You know that Target broke Street Date? You know that doesn't mean you can play it, right? You can't play it just because they broke Street Date. You know that, right? The whole game's not on the disc. Like, you can't put the disc in and just play. Come on, guys. Well, I know there's leaks. We're not talking leaks. But breaking Street Date, you can't play. The full game's not on the disc. People are playing it now. How? How are they installing it? Wouldn't it go to install and tell them they can't install it? Because it needs to download. It needs to download the full game from the store. That doesn't even make any sense. You can. Corey Barlog tweeted about it. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way the full game is on the disc. Because I thought the pre-ordered collector's editions and stuff were literally coming with the disc and the game wasn't on there. And you'd have to download it, meaning that the store would say, no, the game's not installable yet. Game isn't on the disc, it's just a license. Then why would people break... I don't understand how Target breaking Street Date would allow people to play. They have no system in place to prevent the game from being played early. What? Wait. If I get my code early, it wouldn't let me install and play it. So why is the disc any different? That's confusing to me. Like if right now Ragnarok was on my doorstep and I put the code in, I wouldn't be able to play. It would download the game and give me a countdown. Why would they treat the disc any different? It still has to download the game. The disc has the game on it? There's no way the disc has the full game on it, Paul. The disc is all that is needed. The code needs a matched unlock. The disc is different. Look up the tweet. Corey Barlog literally tweeted about it. You can play it now with the disc. You're playing the game now. Jiminy Christmas. The full game is on the disc. Minus day one patches. The actual game disc is the full game. Well, I was totally misinformed. It was my understanding that in this day and age, even if you get the disc early, it doesn't have everything needed on it. You still need to download. You still need to have the internet or whatever, and it downloads a significant portion of the game usually, and then you can play. You get the disc. The midnight release code allows you to load the game. MW2 didn't come with the game on it. Yeah, MW2 didn't come with the game on it. That's what I was saying. I thought this was the common practice now. Was the disc was just like the license, and it would then let you download the whole game. Says, right now, I can really understand the benefit of having just an installer on the physical disc. Huh. That's really unfortunate. Oh, the Modern Warfare 2 is one of the first games. See, I was operating on a wrong assumption. It was my assumption that was the standard now. You got a disc and it just wasn't the full game. It was literally just so you had the physical disc for the looks of it. Recently when we talked about game ownership, that was my understanding that when you buy the game from Walmart, Target, whatever the frick, it's a license basically. Full game's not on there. That's why MW2 made the news rounds. It's the first game that it's basically ever happened. Huh. Yeah. I thought they made that change years ago so that breaking Street Date didn't matter. I have this strange memory of somebody being yeah, even if I get my guy at GameStop to get me the game early, it doesn't work anymore or something. Or maybe it was a specific game that wasn't going to work on. Maybe there was a particular game that needed to download too much day one or something. And maybe it was some of the game or partial or I don't know. I swear I remembered somebody saying that they had a guy at GameStop who used to get him games early and that didn't work for this maybe it was one particular game and not all games. How does a major retailer break Street Date? I wonder how much Sony penalizes that. Well, that's the problem. Target, what are you going to do? Some dude, some dude making a dollar above minimum wage, or who knows, maybe only making minimum wage. They don't care. What are you gonna do? Fire them? They'll just go work somewhere else. Places are dying to hire right now. If that's the case, then is physical media officially dead? Dang, and you banned him? LOL, he was right. That's not why I banned him. I didn't ban him because he was playing. I banned him because he was saying, I'm playing right now. It basically is DLC. Cool. Leave. Like, I can't... you think I can trust him to stay in chat? You think I can trust him to be in my community if he has access to the game early with the way he's been behaving, with how dishonest he's been? Like, come on. I'm not gonna let somebody like that hang out here. Pretty sure that they penalized the company that broke Street Date. I would hope so. Sony could have just let you not install, maybe. More than likely, they can't do that unless they come to an agreement with the console, like with Sony, or I don't even know. I don't even know what the red tape would be, but it's probably not as easy as the company being like, "Hey, we don't want people to be able to play if they get the discs early. What can we do?" There's got to be some layer of red tape that keeps them from being able to do that. Yeah, I mean, online games, you're not going to be able to do anything because the servers will just be like, nah, we're not ready. Yeah, a physical version of the game is a big deal. Sony fan base, especially in the UK, buys physical in large quantities. They essentially need to make the disc into an installer. That's it. Well, how would that stop it from working? Because if it installs the game, how would you stop that? What would the console be like? Oh, you can't play. It's too early or something. You'd have to be out. What if you change the date and time on your console? If it's an installer, it needs to connect to servers. Oh, right. It would still need to download packets and stuff. Okay. Right. And then once it does that, it's locked. It'll have the countdown like my version will have. The installer wouldn't work until the game comes out. Right. You could literally have one byte of data that they can't download that would unlock it. They won't do that for first parties. It's a selling point. Yeah. Their audience. We looked at the numbers of we would ban him if he showed up English O. Yeah, we looked at the numbers once of physical media sales for PlayStation titles, and I was actually kind of shocked. It isn't hard if they want to stop it. That's what they do. They've probably just run the numbers, and they're like, it's not going to hurt sales. So, who the frick cares, you know? That would be my thought process on it. They run the numbers, and they're like, look, man, you know, we got some people that broke Street Date and can see the stuff early. Who the frick cares? It's not going to affect anything. We'll get the same number of sales. We'll get the same number of people to buy the game. The modicum amount of spoilers that people get, like the lion's share of the people that are going to buy the game aren't going to see a single spoiler. How big God of War is, I foresee the industry following what MW2 did. Maybe. Butthurt over Dragon Age and Inquisition eating online. I don't think we have anywhere to send you guys today. I don't think we did anything. No, we didn't do a reaction vid today. We're still sorting out first look content that we can do some premieres with. You know, the benefit of doing the member stream in the middle is that if we have like a really hot second stream, really hot second topic, when we do some of those redirects to first look with some premieres, we'll get that channel monetized a lot faster. I think this format will work. I think it felt right. We just need a stronger second topic to really see the experiments. I definitely felt like YouTube treated us better in that first hour. I didn't feel the 45-minute, 60-minute slump that we felt before. I didn't feel that. We actually hit 45 minutes to an hour in, and we kind of went up a little bit. So I think this has the potential to be helpful. I think the main issue that hurt us is that no one's searching for it. This is just not a hot topic right now. So we pulled just fine on our own, and the YouTube audience is just not looking for anything about the Iron Man game just yet. So sometimes we're a little early to a story. Maybe this will get picked up in the next couple of days, and then other people might find the stream, and that's great. I do think, though, that putting the members-only stream in the middle like that I honestly think that felt good. So those of you that are members, you'll actually probably see more people in those streams. We'll have stronger turnouts. The members-only stream is, I think when we were in there, yeah, it's almost at 500 views. That's way better than we've been getting on our members-only streams. As an example, we did yesterday's at the end of the day, and it's sitting at 444, but that's after getting a bunch of views as a VOD. So today's stream has already surpassed that one, and that one's been sitting for 24 hours. So I think we'll net almost an extra 100 to 150 views, which that means 100 to 150 more members will see those streams, which is good. And then the hope would be, once we get to December, we'll be telling people, listen, if you're not on a full membership, you can't come with us. Right? You can't come with us. So right now, make sure and check your membership. You can use the upgrade command or the mobile upgrade command. If you need to upgrade, we need everybody at a full membership. We need everybody at a full membership or VIP. If you're a gifted member and you're currently at the base level membership, you're going to want to upgrade before December. If you're paying for your own membership and you're at the base level membership, you're going to want to upgrade as well. We made it literally $1 to upgrade because we want to have a dividing line between gifted members and paying members. So we can't do that unless we have you guys. You guys have to kind of voluntarily be like, okay, we're catching the vision. We're going to upgrade for $1. From that point on, your membership will be $6 instead of $5. It's a good sign of the value increase of the time slot change, which should be a good indicator of the success of the tier changes. Hopefully, because the idea would be we'd get to December and say, hey, if you're not a full member, you can't come with us to the next segment. Like, it's not, you need a full membership. So make sure and take care of that. If you need to do it on desktop, it's pretty easy. You just literally go to the membership tab on my channel. Like, there's a bunch of tabs on my channel now, and you would just go to the members tab, right? You would literally go to, oh, I can't see it. Hang on, let me switch to my own. I think if you're a member, you'll see an extra tab. So right now, when you come to my channel, that's the PlayStation cap card. There we go. You'll see these tabs at the top. Membership is the one you would click on, and then you would go to perks. You'd go to see perks or change level or whatever. The other thing you need to realize about my channel now is if you click videos, this is the uploads, and we don't upload here anymore. I'm hoping they let me slide this videos tab way down, because all that matters to you are the shorts and the live. That's all we do here on Reforge Gaming now. This videos tab is worthless to you because we do not upload on this channel. That's perfect for our other channels. But here on Reforge Gaming, you either want to be on the shorts tab to check out all my latest shorts, which every single short, apparently my mouth is open. It's like, oh. Okay, so, and then the live tab. So use those tabs. Use those tabs to make sure that you are totally updated to a full membership, and you really, really want to do that before December. Every member, okay, thank you so much for doing a full membership, Joey. Every member, it doesn't matter what your level of membership is, this Saturday, remember, the 5th of November, Saturday, the 5th of November, that night we're doing the Star Wars watch party. You need to either be able to watch it on Disney+, you need to own the DVD, Blu-ray, or have a way to watch the movie. If you want to watch along with us, we'll help you sync up when to pause and unpause. If you have Disney+, we'll use that extension where I can control when yours starts and stops, okay? But I'll also give you countdowns like, hey, we're going to pause it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or I'll probably do a 3-second countdown. But we want to make sure people are given the opportunity to pause when we pause so they can even use the VOD and watch along. My wife and I'll be commenting. You will not be able to watch or hear the movie through us. That is illegal. You will have to watch on your own, and we will be commentating as we watch it. So as long as you sync up your watch experience with us, you'll be able to watch that VOD anytime and enjoy my wife and I's banter and commentary on Star Wars Episode 1. You can unlock that perk every month as long as we have 2,000, as long as we hit 2,000 members in that broadcast. Yeah, we'll do bathroom breaks. Like, I'm like, oh, guys, I got to use the bathroom. I'm going to pause the movie. Get ready, everybody. All right, is everybody ready? You're going to pause in 3, 2, 1, pause. So we'll just do that so that way everybody is synced up. If you're watching through the extension, then you won't have to do that. When I pause it, it'll pause your video. So that'll be Saturday night. Make sure your membership's up to date. If you guys go crazy, if you gift, or if people start jumping in on their own and we hit 2,000 members at some point in November, that means we'll do another Star Wars watch party in December. Anytime you unlock it, we'll do the watch party in the next month. And so that'll then be episode 2. So that's always a perk you guys can unlock. I forget what tier we said we had to be on memberships for Madden to be on camera, but that's not a big deal. We're not worried about that right now. So, what's the extension? What's the extension called? No, James, I understood what you were saying. James, I understood that when you said what you said about hearing it started as DLC, I could tell that you weren't saying it with malice. Like, I've been doing this long enough to know when someone's being nasty and someone's just being, just saying what they've heard. I could tell that you had no malice in what you said. I didn't take offense to what you said. What's the extension that we used? I can't remember what it was called. We'll figure it out. It was something, I forget. It was something watch party or something. It was something with Netflix, but then they turned it into a generic watch party app where as long as it's installed in Chrome and you click on my link, I can control what your Disney Plus does. So if it's on Saturday, what time? It'll probably be around between 8:30 and 9 o'clock is when we'll get started. How do I join the Discord, and what tier you have to be to join the watch party? Any tier of member can be a part of the watch party. For the month of November, it doesn't matter what your membership is. Starting in December, you're going to want to be on a full membership. I need you to bump up to the 6, but that doesn't start until December. You have this entire month. We have this entire month to get you guys updated. It's on Disney Plus, yes. That's how we'll be watching it, yes. And if you use the app, we'll figure out the app and we'll put it in the Discord so you get it installed and ready to go. And then all you have to do is click on the link, and then I'll be in control of your viewing experience. So if I pause it, yours will pause. There's a chat you can use, but you won't need that. You're not going to really need to see what people are saying. Iron Man, what I missed, you're going to have to rewind and watch it. We are ending for the day. We did our member stream in the middle. We'll try that again for the rest of the week. I feel like it was the right choice. It felt good. So make sure your memberships are up to date. Make sure that what's this guy doing? You guys are all scolding him and telling him to stop. Better performance, lowest form of DLC, no disrespect. Yeah, let's just get. It's called Teleparty. It's called Teleparty. Is that the name of the extension? Okay. I'll look that up and make sure we have that properly investigated and ready to go. Netflix Party is now Teleparty. It's a Chrome extension with 4 out of 5 stars. It looks like it works with virtually every platform: HBO, Prime, Disney Plus, YouTube, etc. So that will be the one that we end up using. I recognize the logo now, the TP. I remember using this with you guys. Okay, thanks for getting that for me. Guys, can we get 300 likes on the video? We literally need 2 more likes. So thanks so much for supporting the channel. Thanks for watching the shows for the day. We'll do this for the rest of the week, and some days this week I might be redirecting you to some First Look content. If you're not subscribed yet to the First Look channel, I'm going to put it in the chat. Make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Make sure that you support it over there. That's the channel where we're going to be putting the First Look content. We had to move the channel, and that channel's not monetized yet. It needs 1,000 subscribers and a lot more watch hours. That'll be easy once we have some big games to put over there. Right now, we don't have a lot to put over there. So thanks so much for hanging out, guys. We'll see you tomorrow with more great shows here on Reforge Gaming.